Yo. Welcome back, guys, to a new episode. I'm Jason. I'm joined by my co-hosts, AF and Riyaz. Gents, how are we doing? How's the weekend? All good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. 3-0 win for United. So I'm chuffed over here. But I just saw now that the game against Galatasaray tonight might be cancelled. So I don't really know how I'm feeling in this moment in time. But yeah, other than that, I'm great. I'm great.
How come it's going to be cancelled?
I don't know, some pitch issues. It seems like apparently the ball's not moving well on the pitch, something like that.
Okay.
That's very funny. Yeah, I'm not too bad. I had a good weekend. Premier League was back, and wasn't. I'm not feeling too great at the moment, of course, but we'll see how it goes. It's not going to get any better, so I guess we'll see how it goes.
Nah, that's fair. I mean, we had spoken, I think maybe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were talking about your upcoming fixture run, and it was bound to be a bit tricky, right? And we thought, okay, maybe you get something in Villa because then you got City, and then somebody else was a big game. It's another big game. You've now obviously brought it up. Let's dive into that Villa game, Highline versus Highline. Did you watch it? Because you had also previously said that you're not going to watch any football until Mickey van der Ven comes back. Did that stay true? Did you manage to catch highlights? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm trying my best to stick to that because it's what I said. So, but I got the highlights. I watched a bit of podcasts about the game, things like that. And it was, look, we have now officially after that horrendous tackle on Bentancur, we once again have a whole team of people that are injured and or suspended. So it was bound to happen, unfortunately, because look, honestly, if we had 11 starters on the field, I believe that we would still be top of the league right now, which is crazy to think because at the beginning of the season, people were saying that we weren't going to get the top 8. So to be there, what I did see though today was that we're only 2 points above United, which scares me slightly. That scares me just a little bit. That's a little bit disappointing, but it's okay. With all the like I said, with all those injuries and things like that, it's been rough. Like even with the Villa game, I would expected us to win it. With the Wolves game as well, we should have won that game as well. So the game itself, I think Ange played well. These tactics were really good, from what I understand. He played Kulusevski. So we started Brian, Kulusevski, and Johnson, which was interesting. And Kulusevski is the one who played the Madison role. So he was basically the 10. And he played really well there. He held onto the ball a bit too much, I think, for my liking. But he did really, really well. It was a crazy first, 10 minutes? But there should have been like 6 goals that went in from both sides. And we didn't take our chances at the end of the day. I think that was the main problem because after that, because we had Son scored 3 offside goals. Kulusevski hit the bar in the first couple of minutes. So not taking the chances, I think, is what cost us because Villa's a class team. Like they've been playing really, really well over the course of the season, this whole year. I mean, Emery's got them playing really, really good football. Ollie Watkins is one of the best strikers in the league at this moment in time. Obviously, we discount Haaland. So basically, Ollie Watkins is the best striker in the world. In the Premier League. So I think that their team was really, really good. I think to have played so well with the injuries that we've had against a team like Villa gives us a good showing. But the problem is that unfortunately, I think that we have to try and get a result in these games. The Wolves game, we should have won. And this game, we should have won. At least the draw. So I think Ange needs to kind of come with a sort of a plan for game management, which is I think what we're lacking at the moment. With like I said, with the first team players out, it's a bit difficult, but still the whole squad should be behind or know what to do in specific areas of the game, know when to press, when not to press, when to lay, when to keep the line low, which is not how we want to play. But at some points in time, it's necessary for the game. So I think that's the one thing that we need to adapt to. And Ange won't do it, but I think that's important because either it's going to cost us points at the end of the day. And
I mean, like sometimes he can be his own worst enemy, right?
Yeah.
The fact that he started the game with 4 fullbacks across the back four, it's a bit weird. I mean, you have Eric Dyer, and I know you don't have a soft spot for Eric Dyer, Riyaz, but I mean, he's a centre back. He's solid, and I mean, compared to the having a fullback right down the spine, that makes a huge difference. And you could see there were moments that it looked a bit weird. Like they looked uncomfortable in that position because it's going out of their comfort zone. And at the end, like they probably trained with this formation for a few days because they knew what was coming. But I don't think Ange will try or experiment like this again.
I don't know if I agree. I agree and I disagree with what you're saying because it did look a bit uncomfortable. And Emerson is not really that much trustworthy. But he's been proving himself, right? He trains hard on all accounts. But like you said, they aren't centre backs, right? They're 4 fullbacks in the back line. And however, I do think that that's how Ange wants to play because if you look at it, I can't remember the second goal or the first goal. Who scored the first goal? I can't remember. But Watkins' second goal, it didn't come from a play in behind. It came from in front of them, which is what a centre back is supposed to do. So we were caught lacking there. But no goals came in from us playing the high line, which is what Ange wants. So he wants the 4 fullbacks in the back line to be able to stop balls going through and people beating the press, things like that. So in that sense, it worked. But in another sense, where we need a centre back to command the position and be able to stop balls from at least block the shots that are coming in. It unfortunately didn't work for us. So it's positives and negatives how we want to play. But like I said, I think the game management at the end of the day is what's called for because Emerson is good on the ball. I think that's what he wants as well because the 2 centre backs play a lot of passes to each other. So I think that's why he preferred Royale over Dyer, and obviously the pace is the other thing. But I think he will. It seems like he's stubborn. It does seem like he's stubborn. So I think he will continue with this, whether it's to our detriment or whether we don't know technically if Dyer is going to be worse or better for the system. But apparently he's spoken to Dyer and he's told Dyer, look, it's kind of hearties for you, really. You're not really going to play very much. And Romero is back after this week, so hopefully that helps us somewhat. But that tackle from Matic, I still can't get over it, to be honest with you. Like it's a perfect injury yellow card tackle. Like it's a shocking tackle. It's not a red, but I mean it's a shocking tackle. And now Bentancur is injured for another 2.5 months. Poor guy. Like that breaks my heart, really.
It's almost strange, right? Because it was a Christian Romero tackle. It was what Romero does almost every game. Just he's maybe not getting on the end where he injures somebody for like 2.5 months. I think it's also it couldn't have happened to a better or like it couldn't have happened to somebody who just come back. Like if it was somebody who's been playing consistently, maybe he's able to shake it off. But I think Bentancur is a bit more fragile now with all of his recent injuries. So that one just comes and it's like, it's not something that we want to see. I think it's just one of those go hard and then you unfortunately injure somebody for 2.5 months.
Messed up our game. Like he's so important to the way that he's been important for us since last year. He's been our best player on the field since he got there. So I mean, for him to have gone so early in the game as well, I think that also kind of messed us up quite a bit.
Because then didn't Højbjerg come on, eh? Højbjerg like literally, and then it's like, ish. I think
look at the bench.
You have to study that, man, because I didn't think he was as bad as he is this season. last season. Like I think last season he was okay. Like he was decent. He was somebody who did what he needed to do. But now it's like it seems like the simple things seem to be stumping him. You know, a little bit of passing here, a little bit of covering here, and suddenly he just looks out of depth.
But I think that can go down to confidence as well. I mean,
Yeah,
last
fair.
season he was playing a lot of football.
He was
Yeah.
the number one midfielder in the team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
And
rhythm
this
is
season
out
it's like,
there.
okay, Ange doesn't really see him there. He's going to be chilling on the bench most game days, and I mean that can, Jason, you know, like that
Yeah.
can affect your confidence so much,
Yeah, for
so that
sure.
when you actually get your chance, then you're not really going to take it because
Yeah.
you're doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
for
says
sure.
something that he's the best sub that we have on the bench. Like our bench is shocking at the moment.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad. Shame.
No, I mean, look, I'm thinking about that game and I'd watched a bit of it. I thought Lasalsa looked like he's been playing for quite some time for somebody who hasn't really gotten game time. I think he looked very good in the whole circumstance of it all. And then Brian Hill as well, also somebody who looked very exciting, looked very enterprising. I think legs just gave in towards the start of like second half, you know, midway through second half, then it just looked like he was just out of it. But I think anytime he got the ball, he looked lively. And I think he provided Son with enough opportunities. If only, like, I think Son was very unlucky to not finish that game with like a brace at least, and maybe Spurs don't even lose the game because it's just like fine margins. He's off by like this millimeter, or there's somebody off in the build up, and he just on the end of it, he like doesn't get the goal. But yeah, I think it's now just either going to persevere with what's happening right now and stick to the system, which in the one sort of avenue, I appreciate that he's not losing his models and game setup, but also then going back to game management, it's like, okay, if it's not going to work, then what is the plan B? Like, I mean, Unai Emery used to do that at Arsenal. He had like 4 or 5 different game plans, and I don't think any of the players knew what it was. You would change systems so often that I think you confused players. So yeah, no, it's going to be a nice, interesting time. Let's just park it there.
I think this weekend is going to be well,
Yeah,
not the litmus test, but like we'll exactly see how much City can get past us, and then we'll see what happens because it's gonna might be ugly.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I just quickly before we come back to that City Spurs game, I have started in the intro talking about a nice, comfortable win against Everton. Was it comfortable? was it was it a good game? Obviously,
Did,
we have a
did I say
Puskás nominee.
comfortable? I feel like I just
I
said it was
don't
a
know.
I
nice
think you said
3-0
good
win.
win. I think you said
I
good
said I said
win.
it was a nice 3-0 win. A nice
But that's
3-0.
Okay. So
but it's what Jason is right. It did
Yeah.
sound kind of like that.
it seems like a good
I,
win.
I think it's all down to the fact that I don't think we've had a margin that big away from home in, I think they said 1.5 years or so.
So it's about
Um,
the margin.
so
Yeah,
yeah, the fact that we actually have, I think we have a positive goal difference now, or we might just be zero on on the dot.
let's confirm
Like we're not
Let's
negative
confirm it.
anymore. So that's that's pleasing. Making some tiny strides forward. But yeah,
Yeah,
the football, it didn't look bad. Like, I mean, I'm going to go back again to our last conversation about Marcus Rashford, and
yeah,
you got a goal. It was a sympathy penalty.
He got a
Uh,
goal.
I
yeah,
a la Kai Havertz. Remember that sympathy penalty that he got a few weeks ago, and now
And
the
people
guy
were
yeah.
scored,
slating that, eh?
he scored the
Who
winner
was
over the
slating it
weekend.
now? No, Bruno's the captain now of the season because he gave
Yeah, yeah,
Rashford
yeah.
a penalty.
And a couple of weeks ago they were gating the Odegaard for giving it to Havertz. That's double standard,
Yeah,
eh? It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
no, 100%. But yeah, like other than that, like Rashford still, he looked off the pace. He tried
yeah,
taking on 3-4 people. He still couldn't get past them. He tried squaring balls. It just wasn't finding its intended
yeah,
target. And so yes, he's on the score sheet. He got a goal, but is it an improvement on his performance? No. He still needs to pull up his socks and just try
yeah,
to work a bit harder, try to find that confidence again.
yeah,
But hopefully the like him just like finding the net at least just reignites something within himself, and he gets to just like push on. I'm hopeful, like from a United fan point of view, I'm hopeful that happens. But other than that, I think a lot of the other players, they were quite tidy.
Okay.
How did
And yeah,
Martial get on as a starting striker? I didn't watch
I don't think he played bad, eh?
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked hungry. But guys, Alejandro Garnacho,
Oh, yeah, I
wow!
forgot about that.
Yeah. What a
How do you
goal.
forget about that?
What a
It's
goal.
United. I
That
don't
was
really.
sublime. That was amazing. That is goal of the season. Like you don't even have to
I'll give
look
you
at
that.
any of the other goals this season. Like no matter what people do for the rest of the season, nothing is
Yeah.
beating that. He's got the push cast in his pocket already. Yeah, amazing.
That's fair. It was a great goal. It was well, not even great. I'm
That
underselling
was
it. It was amazing.
yeah. I think maybe if we're talking about Puskas, we're going to talk about Havertz's goal against Brentford, and then maybe Garnacho's one. Just for the sure meaning of Havertz scoring finally.
Because he actually scored a goal.
Yeah, and it wasn't a sympathy penalty. AF, just to like touch on what you were saying, you were saying all of the guys were very tidy, or most of them at least. I'm going to highlight two players. So Maguire back in, and I think there's a crazy stat where I don't think you guys have lost like 10 out of 11 games when he starts, or like something crazy like that. Which is
Yeah.
mental when I actually heard it, because why was he sitting on the bench? Okay, we obviously know why he was sitting on the bench, but anyway. And then also just to give a shout out to 18-year-old Minor.
Isn't he
17?
17? 17, yeah. 17, 18. Well,
Either way.
either way.
18. Yeah. What a
Kobe.
performance. And it's not to hype him up over what he should be hyped. I think he had done very well. I think going to Goodison Park is very difficult for any player. Especially going after with the week that Everton had. So you're expecting a fiery contest, and he just looked very assured. So not to put too much pressure on him, but are we seeing something that could possibly blossom into maybe a holding midfielder that Man United's been lacking recently? What are your thoughts on his overall performance and just what the future holds for him?
Now that his performance was, it was so mature. It was extremely mature
Yeah,
from such a young player,
yeah,
and he looked so solid. And at
mm,
times he read the players better than the experienced players.
okay,
That goal line clearance
yeah,
that he made, it's like he
yeah.
knew
The
to just
presence of
keep on
mind to
running.
actually go, yeah, just to keep
Exactly.
going to the
He
line. Yeah,
knew like where to track the ball. I mean, from a youngster to do that, to have that peace of mind, to have that awareness. I mean, it can only mean one thing, that the guy has the potential to go all the way. And when things like that happen, you get a bit scared, because then the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas, they
yeah,
all
sure.
come into the mix, and then you'll find the rumors of like Real Madrid want to make a 100 mil bid for Kobe Mainu, and so like you tend to get a bit scared about things like that. I mean, the last time we had a great talent like this in our midfield was Paul Pogba, and we know
Yeah,
how that ended up, because he
yeah,
chased money instead. He didn't fulfill his potential as much as we all thought he would, but
yeah.
hopefully it pans out differently for Kobe, and he stays with us for the entirety of his career.
Whoa. I don't know if you have that sort of loyalty in any of the players nowadays. But yeah,
He's
I was just
Mancunian.
looking at it. It's not like he did anything special, right? He was just completing passes, covering space, doing what you would want from him. But yeah, at a level of efficiency that maybe you haven't seen in that midfield area. Like, I mean, to take nothing away from Casemiro, who's obviously a world beater, 5 times, but he looked like he was exposed a bit, and he was run a bit into the ground. So recently he's looked a bit poor. So to suddenly have that, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. And I think it instilled quite a bit of confidence in that midfield three as well. So you had Bruno, who was dropping deep, able to pick some of those long range passes. You had Scott, who just then took on that breakdown play role. and then just moving it around. And I think it really gave confidence to that front three as well, which is what we see. Because I think it was the first time that the front three all scored. And okay, maybe it's the first time that the front three played together. But I mean, you had a Garnacho, you had a Martial, you had a Rashford goal. And I think that's what you're expecting from your front three, and not them having to track back and do more of the defensive duties and not actually have time to attack. So I think it was good. If this game is possibly called off this evening, we then go straight into a big game against Newcastle. What are your thoughts on that? Just to like preview that. Obviously, they come off a very dubious decision last night, and yeah, really flipped that group of death on its head now. What are you expecting from Newcastle after last night? If you just want to touch on that, if you managed to catch that penalty incident, and then just what are we expecting for this game coming up?
Yeah, so like I watched the game last night, and I mean Newcastle almost had it in the bag. That
Yeah,
penalty decision came in
yeah,
the 97th minute, 98th minute.
yeah, something like
So it was right at the end, and um, Newcastle, they literally played with 11 men last night. The
yeah,
bench was basically the reserve side, along with Paul Dummett and
yeah,
Lewis Hall. So it's not like they had any experience over there,
yeah,
and the players were running themselves into the ground. They defended with like their lives were on the line, and it was a really good like performance from them.
yeah,
So to see them concede a penalty that I, I'm just going to come out and say it's ridiculous. It was a disgusting, ridiculous decision, and then UEFA comes out afterwards to say that that penalty shouldn't have been given.
Oh, did they say
So
that?
yeah, they
yeah.
came out with they came out with the statement.
That
So
was
I
the
mean,
yeah,
uh, we've seen that so many times this season, where
yeah,
the authorities will come out afterwards to say, "Oh, this actually shouldn't have happened," but when are they
yeah,
actually going to take action in situations like that and be like, "Okay, this shouldn't have happened, but we'll do this for you." Because
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's the referees, the officials are the ones that's making these mistakes. They should be held accountable, and the teams should receive something as a sort of a reimbursement. Because
yeah,
last night's result has the basically it's the difference between Newcastle going through to the next round of the Champions League and
yeah,
getting knocked out, and they might not even make Europa League anymore.
yeah.
So there's a lot on the line for Newcastle, and yeah, I don't agree with it. It's a completely rubbish decision in my opinion.
Riyaz, did you catch any of that? I mean,
Yeah, I watched most of the game. I was
yeah,
switching between the City game and the Newcastle game. And I mean, exactly what he said is right. All 11 players put their hearts out on the field.
yeah,
They actually played. I watched the first half. I watched the whole of the first half, and they actually, honestly, they were playing better than PSG in the first half.
yeah,
They were better than them. They scored the goal, and then second half was more about game management. They protected the box, and another. If we're going to talk about Minu, we have to talk about what's the fella's name? Miley.
Miley,
Miley,
Yeah,
Miley,
that fella.
yeah,
Also, very, very good youngster. He looks like he's about 12, but plays
mm,
really, really maturely. And I think that's down mostly, not mostly, but like it's a lot down to the coach and the manager,
yeah,
who, because you can see Newcastle, they have a really good structure when they play, and
yeah,
everybody knows where they have to be at what points, when to press, or
yeah,
what runs to make, all of that stuff. So it's crazy to see how he just slots into that team in a very important place as well in the midfield,
yeah,
um, where it's super important to be on it all the time. And he just came in and he just fits into the systems very, very well. So that was really impressive. And I mean, the Champions League is a place where we sort of know better that or what a handball is supposed to be, because
yeah,
they say at least, well, at least I could be wrong, but I think that they say that if the ball first comes off any part of your body and then hits the hand, it's not a handball. I think
yeah,
yeah,
that's the case.
yeah, that's the
And
rule.
I mean, how does that then go? First of all, the referee did not give it, right? The referee made the right call. He did not give the penalty.
yeah,
He carried on the game. how, as a VAR official, do you see that and tell the referee he needs to go and look at the screen? That
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. And that was the first time in the Champions League, anyway. There's been loads in the Premier League, which is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
that's the first time in the Champions League where I've seen that it's been such a actual unsubjectively wrong decision.
Yeah.
And that's disgraceful. Like AFC, it costs them a place, because that would have confirmed, well, more than almost confirmed them to go through. Now they
Yeah.
2 points off, and they have to hope that other results go their way.
Yeah.
And that's unacceptable. Really, it's really bad. And yeah, it's unfortunate for Newcastle, who played an amazing game, deserved the 3 points, even though they were under the cosh for most of the second half.
Now it does bode for interesting final game week, because I think it's only Dortmund now that's almost outright secured.
No, they are.
I think they just need a draw. I think
Yeah,
Dortmund just needs
yeah,
a draw. Yeah.
and you'll have PSG, AC, and Newcastle all competing for a result. So it's, I mean, at that time of the game, I think if that thing happens, maybe like in the 50th minute, maybe it's not even given. But you now have this opportunity to make a very important call, and it can influence a lot more. You know, I mean, what is the headlines if PSG don't make it out of that group? I mean, the oil price goes up, everything goes, and it's like Newcastle that actually knocks them out, eh? So that would be interesting.
It's similar to that City controversy that you were talking about the other week.
Yeah, look, I don't want to seem like I'm this nut that just likes conspiracies,
No,
but
I'm just
sometimes
saying,
follow
I
the
agree with you.
breadcrumbs,
Yeah,
sometimes you
yeah.
have to follow the breadcrumbs, and sometimes you have to follow the oil leaks and see where it runs to. So yeah, it's gonna be a big game. AF, what are we predicting the main issues would be? I mean, obviously, listening to you guys now, we're talking about Newcastle being a very depleted side, and we have Man United coming with a lot of confidence. I think it's only a point that separates you. So this is literally for who cements their spot. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you guys on 24, they have 23. Yeah, where's this game going to be won? And
So I think I don't think United should be taking this lightly. The fact that they have a depleted squad, the fact that they use the entire first 11 to play a full 90, that's something that United might be okay. The legs might be like a bit like ragged, like they ran themselves into the ground. They might be looking at that, but I don't think that they should take them lightly. We had last weekend Chelsea going up against Newcastle, and Newcastle just made like they made Chelsea look like so amateur. At one point, it was like boys versus men, and United, Erik ten Hag needs to be very careful about how he sets his team up here, because as we saw last night, Newcastle are extremely good on the press. They close players down very, very quickly, so you can't afford to take a lot of time. So I feel like somebody like Scott McTominay, sometimes he takes a bit too long on the ball. Newcastle will take advantage of that very, very quickly. I don't know about Garnacho, because in terms of him coming off that wonder goal last weekend, we'll be able to see how he deals with that sort of fame, if I can put it like that. If it's going to go to his head, if it's going to give him extra confidence. But I think an important player for Saturday will be Bruno Fernandes. Or I would be hopeful that he's going to be important, because this will be able to see how he's coming off that leadership role from last weekend. Try to rallies to try to keep that momentum going, and just try to ensure that they do the simple things, and to be tidy. Like I said before, I think Harry Maguire has the potential to be really important as well. And I don't know if Hoyland will come straight back in. I think Martial earned himself another start for this weekend. But yeah, from a United perspective, I think those are going to be the important areas. Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, he's
Yeah.
always a huge cog in their machine. So I think whatever is going to happen over there, it will come from him, Anthony Gordon, and the rest will just like play around those two.
Yeah. No, it will be a good game. I think Bruno, both Brunos hold quite an influential role in their team. I think Bruno G, he's maybe, I think of late, he's getting a bit too involved in the scuffles. And I mean, this is just me seeing things on like X and then watching a bit of the highlights. I think he gets into the heat of the actual moment, so that might be something that you can maybe play on. I think Bruno Fernandes could possibly play onto that because he would have that little bit in him, that will just want to taunt somebody. But yeah, 100%. I think it's an interesting game because you have Maguire who's coming to form, but you've also got Isak, who's a very tricky striker to handle. I think it's so good. He occupies space well. He can run. He can dribble. He can finish. He's a full package. And then on the other hand, you have Martial, who's been in the game for long enough now, so he'll provide quite a bit of a challenge. So I think it's evenly matched all the way through. So I think it's going to be pretty good. Riyaz, you have anything from a neutral perspective there?
Who played left back for United last week?
Luke Shaw made his return.
Oh, he's back.
Luke Shaw.
Lovely to know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And where is this game being played?
St. James Park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be a nice.
Yeah,
The cauldron. Yeah.
Atmosphere is going to be
Hot one.
crazy.
It's unfortunate that Newcastle
for
played
sure.
that game last night, to be honest. I'm sad about that because I think that if they didn't play last night, they would have destroyed United, I'll be honest. I think that they would have come out guns blazing and they would have found them out because the wingers currently are like Gordon and Almiron, they are playing really, really well.
Yeah.
So I think that they would have given the back line a bit of trouble. But the fact that Shaw is back maybe makes a bit of a difference. And obviously that they ran so much last night. I think it's going to be tough for them to actually get a result against a United team that's on the up, I'll say. So I think that the Marcus Rashford situation is going to be important. Did Rashford play off the right then and Garnacho off the left?
Yeah.
Odd. I don't like really Rashford on the right, but if it works, if Garnacho has to start. So I guess that works that way. But AF's right. In the midfield, it's going to be interesting to see if he starts Mainu again as well. That
I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
True. So that the battle between the two youngsters will be interesting as well to see. And of course, my man Joe Linton, my favorite midfielder in the league, the dog that he is.
That dude is probably the most versatile player in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
Didn't he come to Newcastle as a striker from Hoffenheim and now he's like a box-to-box midfielder.
He was a striker, then they played him on the wing, and now he is a box-to-box midfielder. It's crazy. He's just got all of it. And he was a failed striker and a failed winger. But now he's an amazing player, to be honest. And that's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a good game to watch. And it's an interesting time as well. 10 p.m. on a weekend. That's the difference. So, I'm excited for it, to be honest.
No, that's good, man. So just to pivot back to, we're always talking about Spurs. We had spoken about City, and I mean, City in their imperious nature, they're just free-flowing at this moment in time. I mean, last night they went down 2-0 and still managed to get that 3-2 win. Looking forward to your game, Riyaz, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is on Sunday, last game of the weekend. Are you quietly optimistic, knowing that Spurs have been somewhat of an Achilles heel in Man City's? If it was maybe Pochettino coaching there, perhaps. What are your thoughts on that game then? I mean, are you just going to shake the head and say, nah, it's not?
You didn't even wait for you to finish your sentence.
Yeah, he's like giving me his answer immediately. I think I was still trying to be optimistic about the question.
I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate the optimism, but look, with like if we had come off, if we had come off this past 2 games with wins, the Villa game and the Wolves game, and we still had all of our players there that we started the season with. If we had all of our players there and we won, or at least we won and drew the last, if we didn't lose either of the last 2 games, then I would have told you I was slightly optimistic, just a little bit, slightly optimistic. But we have no players, we have no bench, we have a coach who only wants to play a specific way, and against City, we will get punished. We're not going to keep a clean sheet. That goes without saying. So I think where we're playing, let me check. We're only playing at the Etihad. So I mean, it's all downhill from there. There's no ups at the moment. Unfortunately, it's going to be really, really tough for if we get a result, it will be. I don't even know how we're going to get it. But if we get it, it'll be a miracle. To be honest, I'm not sure who starts even in the game. I think he has to start with the same back 4, and like we were saying earlier, the back 4 is Sas Bonanza. Like, I mean, Emerson Royale as a centre back is ridiculous. So, and now no Bentancur again. Webia is going to need to start, and that's also bad. I don't know if Sa is going to be back either. So the one bright spark is we attack really, really well. Like our fluidity going forward is unbelievable. Like one of the best in the league. I'll say. Like our cohesion going forward is amazing. Like I don't know how we do it. To be honest, I have no idea. Compared to last season, where we had no attack whatsoever, we just gave a ball to Harry Kane and hope for the best. This season we've been playing really, really well. Our cohesion going forward is really, really good. It's just going on the defense. It's going to be really, really shocking. I think that Haaland will score. I think that the Jeremy Doku is going to give Pedro Porro a torrid time, and I don't have any optimism. I hope for the best, obviously, because I'm not going to watch the game once again. But I can't watch this game.
Can we talk about how good Pedro Porro has been moving forward though? His attacking stats is actually quite good. Dude's in the assist column like quite often, and he's nicked a goal or so as well. But just back to City again. I saw it. I think I watched a TikTok last week sometime where somebody called Spurs' high line the Ange line, and I think that's going to come into question a lot on Sunday. I feel like Haaland he's just going to set up picnic over there off the shoulder of that last defender. He knows how high they're playing, and I think the instruction from Pep will just be play Haaland in. He's going to be setting camp over there, and he's going to just try to run these oaks. Like he's going to play that offside, and he'll probably be called offside a few times. But I think it's going to be very, very dangerous for Ange to play that high of a line against City.
I'm gonna just as you were saying that, like it just popped into my brain and things like that. As you were talking, I kind of realized how little City actually do that. They never play like that ever. Actually, they never give Haaland the through balls. They never make runs through. So maybe by some luck, we'll be able to keep him out. Well, we'll be able to keep Haaland out. The problem is going to be when they run through the sides. Obviously, that's going to be the main problem. But hopefully, Pep will just be like, look, this is how you guys play. You play to feet. You don't play in behind, and just to be able to keep it in front of us somehow.
The thing is, if you're playing 4 fullbacks across your defense, somebody like Pep Guardiola is going to notice that, and he's going to try to play on that. I could be wrong, and it could be that like, okay, they're going to keep on playing their normal carpet football, tiki-taka through the wings, and just like try to square the ball. But I think that's something that you might end up noticing.
It's going to be interesting to see who has the most possession in the game, like how we play positional wise, because we've been trying to play with a lot of possession as much as we can. We press really high, so it's going to be really interesting to see the possession stats after the game.
I think the high line hasn't worked or those through balls haven't worked since De Bruyne's been out. I think they've had to change their whole style because, I mean, De Bruyne can pick a pass from very deep.
Yeah.
The inverted fullbacks that they have now is very different to maybe like having a John Stones coming inside, or even when Zinchenko was there, who could see that passing. Now it's like, okay, get into Foden's feet, and Foden plays Doku runs, he then cuts it back, takes it on. Yeah, literally, I think that's a thing. I think the best possible plan is probably to try and emulate Liverpool's game plan, which is just sit, and then get somebody wide. And I'm not sure who the wide is going to be. So, I mean, Kulusevski did very well coming through that middle channel, playing that Maddison role, like you had mentioned. I mean, you possibly have Brennan Johnson, who's very quick and who can definitely get behind. But it's just, do you have the players to firstly spot the run and then to execute a pass to actually break that line? Because I think Liverpool had a few chances where they created 1v1s, 2v2s, even 2v1s in like certain instances where they stretched them. Because City, I think teams have shown now that City are beatable. It's just you get one or two chances, and if you're able to take that
stay in
chance,
the game.
Yeah.
that's the thing. So I think they've been giving up more chances recently, and it's just whether you are clinical enough to finish them off. And like you had mentioned, I think Spurs are attacking really good. I think that's a facet of the game that's nailed down. The principles of attack are so fine-tuned that it's not really a matter of who's in that front three. It's just, okay, we're going to get it into this space. I'm going to cross it into this area. You need to be there. And then, yeah, so I think it will be a good game.
Look, if Wadiel starts, then I assume
Spurs have
Spurs will
chance.
be targeting him.
Yeah.
I watched the highlights of the City game from last night.
Yeah.
He looked quite shocking again. So
Yeah.
he's not doing himself any favors.
But didn't
But if
they
he does
turn
start,
Diaz wrong for the two goals? I mean, Diaz also got, like, I think it was Openda maybe. Yeah. Okay.
But
I mean,
like,
then you take those out
we
and
know.
bring in a kind of,
Yeah, we know Diaz's quality already, whereas Vardiel hasn't really proved himself in a City shirt yet. So
yeah.
it's like he hasn't really had, like, he hasn't strung like 2, 3, 4 good games after each other. He's a bit inconsistent, and he's had more bad games than good games, if I can
Yeah,
put
but
it
they're
that
playing
way.
him out of position, so you need to give him a bit of time to
Yeah.
get used to the system and things like that. Like John Stones, when he came there, was not great still, because he was as great as he was at Everton.
But I mean, like, that's beside my point. Like, I mean, the fact that, like, he's in this form currently, if he does start, then I assume he'd be the point of target in the City defense for Spurs. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great match. Even though Spurs has all these injuries, just the fact that they keep on attacking, that makes me take the popcorn out.
That makes me stress.
100%, and that's exciting Ange football. Gents, let's just nail down predictions quickly before we wrap it up. So as we are talking about City Spurs, Riyaz, what are you feeling? What is your prediction for this game?
I'm hoping that we get one goal, and that is what I'm hoping for.
Over 0.5 betting odds. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping that we get one goal so that it can end 3-1 or 4-1.
Okay, so he's going 3-1, 4-1. AF, what you got for
That's
us?
to City, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for
just to make sure. Yeah.
I'm going with
goals.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 City. I don't think that they're gonna run away with it. I think it's going to be tighter than what we think. Just watch how it backfires on me now, and then it becomes a goal fest on Sunday. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a 2-1 to City. It's not gonna be as open as Riyaz thinks. But yeah, I just hope for entertaining football as a neutral fan.
For sure. Look, Ange stated in many interviews that he's just trying to copy Pep, mate. So I'm thinking it's going to be a nice free-flowing game. I think Spurs will be up for it for a bit. I don't think they match City the whole game. I'm going with, like a 3 or 4-1 City as well. It's going to be a nightmare on Etihad Street. It's going to be
I
some sort
appreciate
of
giving us the goal. I appreciate
No,
it.
no,
Thank you.
of course, because City have one of those little blunders in them, and that's the thing. They're not as efficient, and yeah, I think there's definitely opportunities to score. It's just like I said, whether you guys are going to be clinical in the one chance you get, and then whether you're not going to give it up. But I think if you're going to start Emerson Royale and Ben Davis against Haaland, yeah, it could either be the best defensive performance ever, or it's going to be a Haaland masterclass, and it's going to be wrapped up before halftime.
Would that even be classified as a masterclass though?
Why? If they're
If
handling
he
Erling Haaland?
no, if Erling Haaland is doing the business against somebody like Emerson Royale playing centre back, I don't think
Oh
that's
no,
classified as a world class. That's just expected.
no, yeah. So it was defensive masterclass if Ben Davis and Emerson Royale keep Haaland out of the goals.
Okay.
But if it's just business as usual, then it's Haaland too, maybe with an assist, or it's Haaland hat-trick, and just like with that mean mug.
You must just stop Nathan Eke at all costs. That guy has been on some
Yeah,
sort
that
of
guy's also tricky.
other
Yeah,
stuff.
that he has something to say almost every game now. Yeah, AF, jumping back to the United Newcastle game, what is your prediction for that one, pal?
I am going with a 2-1 United,
Okay.
merely because Newcastle are a bit depleted, and I think United might just take advantage of that and nick it away from home.
Okay. No, that's decent. Riyaz?
I thought Chelsea were going to go do something, so I got burnt there. So I'm not gonna get burnt again. For once in my life, I'm gonna agree with AF, and I'm gonna say 2-1 United. I'm gonna go with the same score. In fact, I'm gonna go 2-0. I'm gonna go 2-0 United.
Okay.
For
Interesting.
difference.
I think Newcastle's best strength is how quickly they attack you from the start. So if United would stand that, good game. I'm thinking it's gonna be a draw actually. So I'm thinking 2-2. I think both teams can score, both teams can also defend, but in the same breath, they also can concede. So yeah, I think Man United would be up for it, obviously in recent form, and because Newcastle also depleted, but Newcastle are up for any game that they play at home.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The
let's
crowd
go.
is just ridiculous.
That's the
Look,
that's the
look,
most massive aspect.
yeah, if Newcastle aren't getting any players back from injury before this weekend,
Yeah,
and like we saw last night, that those last 20 minutes was like vital. You could see the Newcastle's players' legs giving in so many
yeah,
times,
yeah,
and over the weekend that's going to be a crucial time. If they're playing with
yeah,
the same 11 players, they'll probably swap out Lewis Hall for
yeah,
somebody, and
yeah,
uh, just like give somebody a break. But I mean,
yeah,
the core is still going to be the exactly the same,
yeah,
and the last like 20-25 minutes is going to be very crucial. And United has a full bench to make changes with. So yeah, that's if United are behind, they are probably going to try and just target the end of that game just to make sure that Newcastle's guys' legs they tired, and let's just try to
yeah.
run at them as much as possible.
No, for sure. It bodes very well for this weekend's football. We've got a whole host of other games in between that have different permutations and stuff like that. But I think those are two fixtures that we've previewed, and I think it's the two biggest games. Gents, I just want to thank you guys for availing yourself again. Yeah, where can the peeps find you on the socials? I mean, every week we are doing this. So yeah, where can they find you, Riyaz? What's your ats? What's your
I'm on Twitter at Parker_Riyaz. I'm trying to tweet more nowadays, as much as I
okay.
can bear to, I guess. And I also
Yeah.
want to preface this, or actually, I didn't preface it. I'm saying it after the fact. But Wasim, I do apologize for predicting the 2-0. I don't mean that I don't like Newcastle. I would prefer them to win the game. But, legs at the end of the day.
Did you say you
Yeah.
don't like Newcastle?
I said I like Newcastle.
Oh,
I want
Yeah.
them to win the game.
Yeah. AF, what about you? Where can the peeps find you?
so yeah, you can see my handle is over here at AF Parker 642 on all social media platforms. Yeah, give me a follow. I talk about comic books, movies, series, everything, sports. Yeah, come chat.
No, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, at Jason_Ronnie. We are at Sportycast, both on X, Instagram, TikTok. Guys, we have mentioned previously that we are getting up to the 50th episode. We are getting very close. And with that comes an amazing giveaway. So just please watch the socials. Watch on all of them because we will be posting it there. It's very simple. And yeah, there's a football jersey that's up for grabs. So please, we appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the subscriptions. We appreciate the comments, the likes. Yeah, so just thank you once again. Share this video, comment, add your
Yeah,
thoughts
tell
on
us what idiots we are.
Yeah, please, man. If we have to improve on anything, then let us know, and maybe we'll have you on the show as well, and we can hear what your brilliant football takes are. So yeah, thank you to the gents once again for availing, and yeah, it's been 343. Tune in for the next one next week, man. Cheers.
Peace.